Let's go, Cage. I hope you have a play. I hope you're not bailing out saying today was national, East Coast National, and you don't have a play.
Well, let's start off with that. Today was East Coast National. What did you think? You came in from Mexico. You flew in, and boy, are your arms tired. No, you flew in from Mexico to the massive East Coast National. And what did you think?
What did I think? So we're going to put the cards aside because we all know what the cars, the hobby, and all that stuff, prices. We'll talk about people. There's a lot of people buying. Unlike National, a lot of the dealers today, I think, we're buying cards. But other than that, Cage, I got to tell you, like, I've been to conventions for crypto. I've been to conventions for, like, finance and, like, fintech. It's the people, man. It's always the people. Like, think about where I'm at right now. I'm at Bleecker, which is in New York City. I was at the Hofstra show. And this just happened because I met some people here today, got to know them. I needed a ride back to the city. Someone graciously offered. And not only that, they waited for me because I needed to take care of some things. And here I am at Bleecker, and we're planning a trade night or trade day tomorrow, like an impromptu day. So all of this happened just by meeting people at the show, getting to know them. And I think that's the strength of the hobby. So that's what I thought. That's what I took away. We had multiple conversations. People noticed and recognized me, which was kind of humbling, flattering, and cool. It's just the strength of the hobby, and I think it's just kindness. I think it's a lot of people in the hobby, they don't take themselves too seriously. They were there to have fun. They were there with their kids. Kids are smarter than us somehow.
They really are.
They know every comp. I did a trade today, Cage. So I bought a Tiger Stripe Kevin Durant, right, and a Bowman Chrome Kobe refractor. And like 6 minutes later, a kid comes up to me. He's like, "I love that Tiger Stripe Durant. I'll trade you a retail Blaster 2021." And this kid, he just knew everything. He knew comps. He was putting pressure on me to make the deal. As you know, as you said on the other national, it took me like 45 minutes to make a decision. It's like a $300 trade.
He called me. I'm like, just get it. I'll buy him when we get there. I'll buy him and you can open them. And he opened them. And the kid pulls fire. He didn't pull, the greatest stuff out of there, but he does very well with retail. He didn't pull a Zion Pulsar green, but he pulled an Allen Iverson pink Pulsar out of 42, which is pretty nice. Not a rookie or anything, but, still a nice pull. He was happy-ish. I will tell you, the kids are smart. They know their comps. I'll give you a little quick story about Ian. Some of you guys already were following along. But, man, when you got the gambling gene, you got the gambling gene. He has it. It is like, all right, we're gonna open up a box. That wasn't there. There's no LaMelo in this. And Andrew was marveling about like how he opens and just like, okay, poof, there's no LaMelo 101 in here. Goodbye. Doesn't matter who's in it. Doesn't matter what rookies. Peyton Pritchard Silver, pish posh. It's not LaMelo.
Tyler Hero Red. Here's your boyfriend, Andrew. That's what he literally says.
He did say that. He did. Well, he listens. He knows what the deal is. You just got to be careful with the gambling. But hey, look, it is what it is.
I hope I verbalized what I was trying to say well, because it's been a long day, and yesterday was a travel day, so it's been nonstop, 48 hours. And guys, tomorrow, if you're in the New York City area, apparently there's a hurricane coming, so stay safe. But we're gonna do kind of like a fun, like, I don't know, like a Sunday day, trade night, trade day, order some food, talk cards here at Bleecker. But man, it's just the people. Like most people could go to this show and they could have a good time without buying or selling a card. There's just cool conversations. There are conversations about NFTs. There are conversations about retail. There's kids having a good time. No one takes themselves too seriously. I didn't see a single argument. I think that kind of stuff, when you see arguments and fights at like sporting events, you take them like we take this stuff for granted at how kind the hobby is, how much people are welcoming, how much people are friendly. I mean, I'm at 20, 30 people. So that to me is the strength of the hobby, because as this whole Fanatics deal happens, as more people come to the hobby, it's going to be, our core culture, what we stand for, what we're about in the hobby, will really kind of like through osmosis become the hobby as it grows. So that's where I'm at. I don't know if for you want to talk more about cards, prices, the market.
No, I mean, about 5 different people came up to me, people I obviously know before the show today, and know who we are and stuff, and said the same thing, which was, I can't believe this is the East Coast National. the show in Dallas is blah, 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 blah. The show in this place is blah, 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 blah. And you know what? We got to have another show. We got to have a better New York show. We got to do it up better than this. We got to do entertainment, and I don't know whether or not, when you start drinking, the last thing you want to do is, break the seal, because then you got to keep going back, right? I don't know whether Zablo broke the seal on that topic of conversation in 10 for 10, and just everybody is on it now saying, we got to get cooler with this stuff. We got to get more conventions at, Costa Cards. They talked about that stuff also, like nightlife and cards. And, with the crowd getting younger, that is. I mean, I don't want to leave the vintage folks behind, right? And vintage for more than one reason. However you want to read into me calling people vintage. Talk about the cards.
They're the people that sit at the dealer tables. They
Correct.
Have chairs for them.
Correct. Well, they have vintage cards, and they they do their stuff, and
they're set collectors is what you call them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's what the hobby's based on, right? And what's interesting about it is those people and the people that bridge from this generation to that generation are the ones that really are calling doom and gloom on the demise of Topps, and there's no more Topps, because they're the ones that are building sets for the last 70 years. Whereas the younger folks who are coming into it are like, oh wow, Fanatics, I know that brand. Can't wait to see what they make. You know what I mean? Like let's give somebody else a shot. I can't wait to buy their stuff. So I like being out there because, so many reasons. One, you can only build up so many relationships with folks over the internet, on Instagram, you name it. It's great to have that interaction with folks. We have a whole bunch of pictures and stuff. I don't know whether it was posted. I haven't really been on Instagram because today is a little crazy. It was busy. The weather is nuts. And if it, as we're recording this, I haven't really read messages. I will get to all of them, assuming we have cell phone service. I'll get to all of them and respond. But I mean, we saw Shai Wei, man, and you have fun with it. We, me, Andrew, and Shai were all there with our PSA backpacks, and we took a picture of it because we know Lamim James is going to have some fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
We took pictures, Andrew and I, with the kaboom, the gold kaboom, Kobe. Why not? We're having fun with it, and we're seeing those folks. I mean, countless people came up to me and said how much they enjoy the show, how it's amazing that we're there every day for folks. And that's, I love that. Second only to watching my son wheel and deal at a card show. That's the most amazing.
His eyes are locked in when he looks like he looks like this guy. When the game-winning shots on the line, when he's ripping packs.
He's MJ. Oh, he's ripping packs. He's all business. But
laser eyes. Am I right?
You know what's funny?
You can't talk to him. You can't ask him a question. He is all ripping packs. That's it.
Can I tell you, my play will be my play, but I'll tell you, the bigger play overall is twofold. One, I love watching the hobby unfold in front of us. You talk about how some of the biggest businessmen, entrepreneurs, you name it, learn their lessons in the hobby. So I would bet you that if I asked Ian today what's the one thing he learned, and it's that there were a group of kids, and one of them was over there with him, wheeling and dealing on cards, while the other kids were kind of hanging back, right? And Ian got to a point where he was between 40 and 50 on a card with the kid. And you could tell 40 would be a bargain, 50 would be a little bit much. He could go 45. But I saw him actually look at the other kids. They were watching the deal go down. They said, you know what? I'm going to give this to you for 40 because I want you to walk away happy. It's an 8-year-old kid saying this. He's probably heard me say that a million times, right? He does that and he looks back at me. 10 minutes later, the 4 friends came back and said, all right, we want to make deals with you now. Right, and one of them spent $150, one of them spent $200, one of them spent $30, and that $10 that I don't want to say that he was able to forego, that $10 discount he gave the one guy, I'm going to give him credit. I think he knew what he was doing, and I think he was like, all right, you know what? Now let's take that into the bigger business, right? We got a lot of people in the hobby now. We got a lot of newcomers in the hobby. We got a lot of people doing business, and you name it. And we've just gone through a 2-week period where there have been some questions about some of the businesses in the hobby. And if I could be the old man in this for a second and say, be an 8-year-old when you're operating your business. Try to remember the one rule that we're all taught in grade school, which is try to treat other people the way you would want to be treated. If someone entrusts you with their card, behave the way that you'd want them to behave if you gave them your card. If you're going to be the person selling a card for somebody, behave the way you would behave if that person asked you to sell the card, et cetera, right? Sure. It's not rocket science, guys. And I know this is now big business, and I know, there's a lot of money at stake, and I know cutting corners is an attractive thing to do. But to the extent that we can, I'm going to buck the trend and not call it the industry and not call it the business and not call it whatever else we're going to call it. And I'm going to keep it a hobby. Because at heart, we all fell in love with this hobby as kids, right? We did. That's what's bringing us here. And if we behave like kids while still behaving like adults, I think it's better for the hobby overall. So it's a big lesson that I learned.
No, I love that point, because think about it. You don't know who you're doing a deal with, but chances are, let's say you're a veteran and there's someone that's a rookie in the hobby. Sure, you could pull the wool over their face and get a good deal, but more than likely they're going to eventually find out that they didn't get a good deal, and they may not want to come back to the hobby, right? So it's kind of like growing that pie, we always say. Make sure that person leaves with a good taste in their mouth, right? Make sure 100%. That they're, and I got to give you credit, man. I know how you are. I mean, virtually, you're obviously you have charisma. You could communicate. You're a good storyteller. You know your stuff. But Cage works a room like no one I've seen, man. You're great at it. You're great at making people laugh and making the conversation about them. Like, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I watch how you talk to people. I watch how you meet people. People gravitate towards you. And it could be, whether we set up our boxes on the floor in the middle of East Coast the National, or if it's outside by the tables at the end of the night talking to, Jason, who's from the Collectible CEO, talking NFTs and World of Women, and the kids are ripping packs here. And just slowly, people are gravitating towards you, and somehow you're able to, a lot of people, when that happens, they're like, oh, I'm so bothered. I've been talking to people all day. You welcome it, and there's something to be said about that. How you're able to give everyone time of day, attention, with a smile on your face, and you do a really good job about it. And it never seems like it's a burden. Hey, Cage, can I grab a photo with you? Of course. And that's pretty cool.
Listen, it's fun. I would love to be able to do this 24 hours. I'd love to be able to do this 27 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like, this is, it really is.
Somehow you have the energy for it too.
It's called soda. It's called caffeine. But yeah, I mean, listen, I appreciate that, and thank you for that. I'll take the compliment. But in reality, folks make it easy. And we have listeners come over and they say, "Hey, Ian, we've heard so much about you. Here's a Kevin Garnett rookie card. Here's a slab." People give him cards of players named Ian. He's building up an Ian Anderson and an Ian Happ collection. I mean, I'm waiting for somebody good named Ian to come out, because then his collection is really going to get good. Vadim, Bagel Master, give the kid a LaMelo Ball rookie card. I mean, come on now, it's awesome. I mean, didn't have to.
What about Vadim setting up a kind of like I don't want to call it a bagel night, a bagel day? Yeah. So guys, his store is like 10 minutes from where the show was. So before, he said, guys, whoever is coming to East Coast National, stop by the store. Free bagels. He had great Greek salad, hummus, cream cheese. He hooked people up. Little things like that go a long way, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's great to see folks. It's great to see folks behind the tables. Black Trader Wolf had a table there. We've had her on, and businesses that we've seen now grow. Slab Shelf, who I had on the come up with Cage when I still had the energy to do that show, and he's just killing it. Just a great product. A lot of people talking about him. And yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of fun. And, the one other piece that I learned, I'd love to see card shows kind of move into the future a little bit. At this place, Ian found a table in the back corner. Leighton Sports Cards out there, and, a bunch of other folks. And he just set up a table, and people are coming over. What do you got? Working out comps, selling his cards, trading for wax. You name it. Just having fun. And then, of course, the second half of the show, just spend all the money that you got selling your stuff. Number one Russell Westbrook fan was able to coax the Carmelo Anthony Jambalaya PSA 10 Pop 2 out of my hands.
That's who that was?
Yep, that's who that was. That was number one Russell Westbrook fan.
I got to give that guy a shout out. I think he's one of the funniest accounts on Instagram. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love every minute we get to spend in this hobby. I really, really do. It's cool. The cards that are out there, the wax that's out there, just is amazing stuff going on. And to everybody I met today, sorry I can't get to meet more people. I got a lot of messages. People were going to come tomorrow. Now the show is canceled tomorrow, so that kind of sucks.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, I think they announced it right before we left. They told all the dealers to take all their stuff home. So I'm pretty sure tomorrow is canceled and done, which is, that opens up the door for Bleecker Trading to have a day, which will be pretty nice. If anybody's, in the city and want to head over there, you get to meet Andrew, which, Mexico's loss, New York's gain. Hey, now. One last
We'll contextualize that, guys.
Yeah,
so the storm, there's a hurricane coming towards, but it's really going to hit.
Can you sing a little Hamilton? Sing a little Hamilton? In the eye of a hurricane. No.
What is Hamilton? Is that is that Broadway?
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton, not Lewis Hamilton, not the F1 driver. No, all right, I'm not going to sing anymore.
You can.
No, it's okay.
So much trouble in LBC.
So much drama.
But it shouldn't hit New York City the way I understand it. The hurricane, right? It's going to be LBI, Long Beach, and.
The model that I saw, it has the thing doing like a waltz. They managed to have it do like 4 right angle turns. This way, you hit every state in New England, so that everybody can declare a state of emergency, and every governor can have a press conference, and everyone can be scared out of their minds about this thing hitting them. I mean, literally, it's zigzagging across the entire Northeast. So the hurricane, it's pinball hurricane. So,
all right. Well, I'm gonna go to this website. It's called Zoom.Earth, and they'll tell me all the answers because I love looking at the radar of a storm. But guys, we're gonna be just hanging out here tomorrow, 12 to 6 p.m. We'll order food. We'll have some of the games on the TV here. We'll have good music, talk cards, have some fun. People will be doing some trades. We'll be hanging out. So if you guys are in New York City, stop by. Please do. Bleecker Trading, right in the West Village. You can Google it, find the address. What else, buddy? What else, Gage?
It's on Bleecker and Christopher. Right, you're right on the corner there. So what else? My play, right? My play's interesting, right? Because it's you've done this a couple times. I'll have a specific play in a moment, but my play is know the audience that you're going to be able to potentially sell to at a show. All right, and with the advent of new places to sell, there are new things that if you're willing to churn your inventory and move, you can actually get rid of them, right? So let me explain what I mean by that. There are a lot of people going on Whatnot right now. Right? Whatnot, the app, okay? They're breaking. They also have a lot of people doing slab sales, right? And they basically started a buck, and it's like, all right, move this, liquid, you name it. And it's part of content. Shayway Vlogs doing it. Shayway got a hell of a bargain. He's going to make plenty of money on it. He bought a ton of cards from Ian, right? But we knew that he was going to be putting them on Whatnot. So it's a specific type of card that he's going to be looking for. And he also is going to have to look for it at a bargain. He's going to have to look for it at, even better than the 75% of eBay comps on liquid stuff that you'd give somebody, right? Maybe you have to do it at 50% of comps. But you're able to put into there cards that otherwise are going to sit in your collection forever. We're talking about like PJ Washington Revolution PSA 9s. Things that probably should never have been graded, but we graded them anyway because we all wanted a backlog PSA. Brandon Clark PSA 9 base cards, those kind of things, right? And, you're able to put a stack of those together and in a couple of LeBrons and a couple of other cards that, are going to be able to make some money. You put a deal together and able to sell them, right? So what I learned at these shows is it's not always having the best card in the world in your collection that's going to allow you to make a sale and leave the show with money. Ian has most of my 9 rejects from our PSA subs mixed in with some other things we trade for. And the kid walked out of that show with literally thousands of dollars today. Well, he spent most of it on the back end of the show buying wax to rip. But the point is that with the with the introduction of different ways to sell now, and folks are doing different stuff, you can get rid of certain cards. You can do well bringing your what you would call your PSA rejects, as long as you're willing to to understand that the person you're selling them to is going to be moving them on this platform, sort of like Whatnot, and needs to make some money. The margin's going to be low. You need to give a discount on it. you can liquidate a lot of stuff. So that's kind of like, to know your audience, right? You can move your high end cards too. There's plenty of people buying LeBron on card autos at the show as well. But you can bring some of that low end stuff and move it. So interesting, right?
No shortage of LeBron buyers.
Oh no,
no shortage. People are looking to color up into LeBron.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, and any type of LeBron too. I think Ian moved a LeBron Sports Illustrated for Kids. He moved a Ruby Wave PSA 10 Prism. He moved a silver BGS 9.5. I mean, he moved most of the LeBrons. He had like a Court Kings that we graded, and it came back a 9. He moved like every LeBron slab he had, I think.
So let me show you my play. So I walk into Bleecker. We just get in maybe 20 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And there's this card, Cage.
Kobe.
Who else is on it?
Is that Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Bulls, yeah. Wow.
Guys, look, pretty cool card. So this is Kobe, Jordan, 1998 Fleer. It's card number 1. Jordan's last year with the Bulls, championship year. Really sweet card.
And nobody knows about it. It's sort of like the play we gave with the 03, what was it, Autographics, I think, with that has Kobe and LeBron as a rookie on it. It's cool.
Guys, let me just – it's surprising to me, but the raw version of this card is $24 for a lot of 2, $12. Obviously, these aren't going to be great condition cards, and if you want, you could go and buy PSA 8 or PSA 9. It's a really interesting card because there's actually not a ton of them out there. I don't know the reasoning behind it. But if you look up the 1996 Fleer Ultra 52 card, I brought you guys that play before. Go on eBay, there's a ton of supply. With this card, for some reason, there's not a lot of supply, but it's still an incredibly cheap card in a raw condition. Someone here, Jacob, who works here, a lot of you guys know him. He got to give him a shout out, man. He's on his feet 24 hours a day. So he works the booth for Bleecker. We just got back. He's setting up the trade day tomorrow to make sure everyone's happy. Has
and food. Always smiling, by the way. And
always smiling.
Always smiling.
And always leaving meat on the bone for his buyers or sellers. Always. It's incredible. So shout out to him. But he said it's kind of cool. Sometimes buying up PSA 8s of Kobe is kind of like a fun, if you're not sure if they got raw or not. PSA 8s, Kobe's jersey number. So that's my play. It's a $12 card. You got Kobe, you got Jordan in it. And if you're kind of like me, stuck a little bit about, what to buy, I like this card. I think it's a cool looking card.
It's funny, man. So I went looking because of you, and I'll double down on it. It's a play I gave, guys, and we'll keep it short and sweet. A play I gave before, and I went looking today. I saw a couple of them, but expensive because they were duels. I can look on eBay and grab them. You talked about this last week, but you didn't give it as a play. I started thinking about it again with the Fanatics takeover of, the licensing and stuff. With Kobe autographs being in the stratosphere as far as, pricing, and with, this National Treasures not using game-worn, relics, I'm going to double down on the Kobe game-used relic cards. Not warm-up cards, game-used relic cards, game-used jerseys, right? Because how many game-used Kobe jerseys are there still out there? And if they are, how many of them are getting cut up to put into a card? How many of them are going to get destroyed? Clearly, you have one. You're going to be selling that thing for a bunch of loot. So, this was a play. It was like $50, $60. You mentioned it because you saw one that was like a PSA 10. It was like a prism of this year, just like a one-color prism. PSA 10 was like $600, $500, whatever the heck it was. Raw.
It was a throwaway card. That was literally like a throwaway card.
Yeah, you used to get that in a blaster. Here you go. Yeah. Done, nothing deal. And maybe you start grading these things. I don't know. Maybe you're able to. I don't know. You necessarily have to because you're buying it because you want that game-used gear on it. And I think when I gave it was 40, 50. There's probably plenty of them still in the 60, 70, 80 range. There will come a time where you will not be able to get a Kobe game-used card under $100, which, if you're able to get them for $50, now you're doubling your money whenever that comes. There's always going to be a demand for it. The guy is, one of the greats of the game. He's got, obviously, a story now that goes with him, and he's not going to be able to put on Fanatics outfit now for them to say, okay, this is Kobe worn. They're not going to be able to pay him a sum of money and have him show up and put on 100 shirts and say, okay, here you go. Kobe wore this jersey, for a reason that's, we don't have to beat the dead horse here. Kobe's no longer with us, right? So, there is a finite number of those, those relics. Obviously, the autos are in a different world, but the relics sort of follow. And I believe with Fanatics coming into the space, there is going to be more attention on the relics and what the relics are and what they mean. The jersey, the game worn, the patches. I think they're going to actually mean a little more to cards now because of who's going to be behind them. So to me, that's just it's a play I gave. It's one I would quadruple down on. I didn't see any today. I was actually looking for them today. And now that I gave it as a play, I'll stop looking for it because I don't want to compete with you guys. But
most people that are buying those, they're in them cheap.
Yep.
They're not looking to flip them. I see that as someone like buys 10 or 15 of them and holds them.
Exactly.
Versus if that's their strategy, they're going to be holding more than one.
But because it's so cheap, you can buy 10 or 15. And if people are swiping 10 or 15, it's sort of like sweeping the floor, right? Pretty soon the floor gets moved higher, like everything else, right? So instead of buying a $500 card, you're able to buy 10 $50 cards. And before you know it, there's not much of them left. So if you find a numbered one, that's cool. I happened to buy one, a while ago that had him and Carmelo on the same card because I like Carmelo. I'm sure there's plenty. I saw one today for $500 that him and it was Kobe and LeBron. Game used for both of them. That's pretty cool. I wasn't spending $500, but it's pretty cool. So those are the type of plays I'm looking at now, just as a buy stash. Cards are starting to get expensive again. So, you got to try to find ones that
dealers were buying today, Cage. Dealers were buying them today. It wasn't like Ashton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people. So a local show like this, a regional show like this, some of these dealers are doing exactly what I just told you about. They're just buying cards and putting it on display. They're putting it in whatnot. They're going to go and sell those cards anyway. So if they can get cards cheap, these are business. These are business people here. The National's a different animal, right? You got to pay so much to be there. You're investing so much time and so much money. You're bringing a whole team of people there. You're kind of in. You want to sell. Like, that's a big selling thing for some of these folks. Even though it's the quote East Coast National, tables don't cost that much money. They're mostly local. They're there and they go home. It doesn't have the same spend, so it's easier to open up your wallet and spend some money on cards here. So
the whole East Coast National term is a little overused because it wasn't really
give it a pass, right? Because it's usually in Westchester, which you've been to, the White Plains show. That's usually the East Coast National. It's a bigger show. You've been there yourself. It's a bigger room, bigger space, a lot more people, a lot more like grading companies and that kind of stuff. This was moved because that location is currently being used as a vaccination center. So they moved the East Coast National this year to Hofstra, which is a smaller venue. The Hofstra show is usually in October, and it will be there again in October. So yes, East Coast National, it really isn't what is normally, the East Coast National used to have a lot more autographed guests and a lot more stuff going down. So this was kind of like a more smaller, muted, thrown together version of it. So
I'll tell you guys something, and this is super anecdotal, but maybe there's something here. So as I was walking in, someone was leaving, and they said, like, just in passing, there's not very many nerds here. and that's interesting. I always wondered, why hasn't a show ever been in Vegas? Like, to me, a card show in Vegas would be epic. But I think we're maybe 1 or 2 years away from something like that happening. I really do, because it does seem like the demo has changed, right? The demo has changed. And I think the demo now would really love a show in Vegas. With something like someone mentioned, like a complex con type of show, entertainment, nightlife, trading, buying and selling. I think it could really work. And I think we're really close to having something like that, where there's legitimate athletes there, whether that's Fanatics who just signed Russell Wilson, something like that.
Prestige worldwide.
Rubber
gloves. We're putting in the science. We put liquid paper on a bee, and it died. I like it, man. Like, let's put it together. Let's put a whole thing together.
Have you ever been to a law conference? Like, do lawyers do
Yes,
conferences?
construction. It was a construction law conference out in San Diego. It was a lot of fun.
I'll tell you guys. And sorry to cut you off. I'll tell you guys. Like, I've been to a ton of conferences. I've been on my feet for 2 days. Physically, I'm exhausted, but I'm not tired, and I think it's because just the vibe is different. I think it's fun. Like, I really do. I think the people here go to have fun versus other conferences, other industries, other spaces. You know how you're kind of like emotionally drained. You're like, just get me out of here.
Yep.
I don't feel that. Like, I could do this. I could do this for weeks. I'm physically tired. I played a little ball today, so that was fun. But there's just a different vibe. I don't know if I'm doing a good job articulating it, but that's something I've noticed.
It's a youth movement, man. There's a lot of people in it. A lot of people are happy to be in this, right? That's what I get. And that's why you have the energy. That's why you're not drained at the end of the day. Because you're talking to people who are happy to be there. You're talking to people who are happy to be at live shows. They're happy to see you. They're happy to be interacting with other people. They're happy to see the transaction flow, the money flow, you name it. And it was nice. It was good to see. Look, we'll keep it short. We'll wrap this one up. This was a fun one. Andrew's gonna hang out at Bleecker, do his thing. There's some wax there. Maybe I'll send you some money. You can open up some wax. Maybe you do it live. Check out that wall of wax he's got over there. He's got some cool stuff. They got some really cool stuff. I have to restrain myself from ripping every time I'm there. He's got cool stuff I ripped when I was a kid.
They have 96 tops. Basketball.
Yeah, that's your thing right there. Pull a Kobe.
Pull a
Kobe. And we'll be right back.
I might do that, guys. I might do that. So you guys who aren't local to New York, I think I might buy some wax tomorrow and do a break from Bleecker because it'll be fun.
There you go. Love it. Listen, every day, different kind of content. Thanks, Luca Nation. It's a little bit of a different episode. We give a little recap of the show. We give a little recap of the fun we got to do today. Everybody be safe out there. If you're in the, you're in the cone here, I guess they call it. You're in the, the area.
It's the eye.
The eye is the center of the storm. The cone is what they call kind of like anyone that could potentially be impacted by this stuff. The cone of silence is what I'm going to put you in. But yeah, no, it's. This
is 2 hurricanes in a week for me.
It's your fault. You clearly are bringing the storm with you. This is what I have to deal with, Luca Nation. This kid, no matter what, he brings the storm. I got to tell you, I walked into the show today before we let everyone go. Just a quick compliment to you. I walked into the show, and everybody asked me where you were. Without fail. Everybody's telling me, where's Andrew? Is he coming? Where's Andrew? Which is good, man. I don't know if it's because they leave you wanting.
I went to play basketball at the gym, and I was expecting Cage to come pick me up. He didn't answer his phone, so I had to walk to the show. 48 minutes, drenched in sweat.
Uphill both ways. And every time he tells a story, it's 6 minutes longer. Oh, it's funny stuff. All right, man. Well, listen, we will talk again tomorrow. Enjoy Bleecker. Don't smoke too much. I didn't say that out loud. And just relax, take it easy. Enjoy and listen. I had a good time today. We had Ian, so I wasn't able to pay as much attention to you. Don't be offended. Don't be so sad.
Love you, Luke.
Bye, Luke Nation. We'll talk to you soon.
Look, Kobe auto right there.
That's nice. Little Kobe auto.
Bo Jackson auto.
Love the bow.
Stay tuned. Love you, Luca Nation. Peace.